Welcome to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison.
I'm Molly, a former skeptic, now full-time energy healer, author, and your resident science meets spirit nerd.
And I'm Madison, a born and raised witch, teacher of the craft, and owner of not one, not two, but 3 metaphysical businesses.
Together we dig into low-effort witchcraft, spirituality, and the science that backs it all up, all with humor, heart, and a sprinkle of chaos.
So whether you're a curious skeptic or a seasoned witch, find a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's demystify some magic.
Howdy doody, friends.
Howdy and also duty.
We have a highly, highly requested episode here. We have a return guest we were just saying perhaps the first time ever, but we realized Anthony's been on more than once, but Anthony doesn't count as a guest. He's like a secret third co-host.
Yeah.
So this is our first repeat guest. We have Chelsee Joel on, who is Madison and I's personal astrologer / good friend / herbalist / all-around cool human. I know so many of y'all loved the Year Ahead astrology episode we did last January with Chelsee that we thought, hell, let's make it a January tradition. Why not? Could be fun. So Chelsea's here to talk about the astrology of the year and also to answer some of your questions that we asked you for on Patreon and overall just yap with us. So Chelsee, welcome back to the pod.
Hello, thank you.
You know the drill, Chelsee. We're gonna kick you off, start you out. What was your magic moment of the week?
Well, I'm back where I grew up, and so I'm just kind of taking in all the sights and the sounds and just kind of like being very present and practicing presence. And it's pretty magical. As an entrepreneur, it's hard sometimes to be present because there's so many things we're preparing for.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, and that can kind of be a little bit dysregulating, but the magic moment, I guess, is just being as physically present as possible.
I love that. Love that.
Love that. Okay, so we went to our Patreon community to see kind of what everybody was wondering about for this upcoming year, reflecting on the past year. So these are all questions directly from our community. Starting off, were there any moments from 2025 that you feel like really highlighted a particular transit that you saw coming? Like, what is a good instance of, oh, that is exactly what I was anticipating?
Well, honestly, summers are notorious for being difficult. And so within the clients that I've been working with, I was kind of like really hyping and preparing us for summer of 2025 because that was a really big moment where a lot of the outer planets transited into the signs that they're going to be in for the next foreseeable future, which is now. So summer of 2025 was huge, possibly completely disruptive and uncomfortable and foretelling. But at the same time, like we really needed to pay attention to those repeat cycles and those patterns that kind of kept happening to help us prepare for this year and this summer.
Yeah, I love that. I think one of the things that I always love, so Madison and I both do quarterly readings with Chelsee. And so I feel like that's how I benchmark my year is I'm like, what happened in summer? And I'm like pulling up my notes from like my Q2 reading and my Q3 reading. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, that was disruptive.
It was difficult. Can confirm.
Yeah. Completely. It's hard to predict what can even happen and look like, but like we've entered the Aquarian age. And it's very, very felt at this point. Like last year was the year of transition. Everything started to change and we're like, whoa, this is really weird. This is really uncomfortable. We don't know what to expect. And now with this year, like, and what we're preparing for with the quarterly readings and the workbooks, there's this flavor where we're not afraid anymore. We've kind of already seen what could happen and what we can do and how we can take care of ourselves and our community and our friends and everybody in a better way so we can actually not let ourself kind of be like whipped around as hardcore as it has been in the past, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's one of the ways I really like to use astrology is, you know, we got a question that was basically like, how does astrology work? And I always explain it as like more of a calendar than a prescription where it's like, okay, I know it's Sunday coming up, which is, you know, a day off and the weather might be like this and whatever. And so I find that like it's really grounding, especially right now where I feel like last year kind of like shit hit the fan in every direction for everyone, everywhere. To be able to see like, oh, it's not all doom and gloom. Like there are some things we can ground into to feel more stable, more settled. I'm wondering when you're thinking about, you know, we have folks who are just beginning their astrology journey and kind of planning their lives or their practices around astrology. What is the most important thing to consider? Like where in our charts is it most important to focus? Where is that starting point when it feels like there's a million different transits and there's a million different pieces of the pie that makes up my chart and there's a million different things? Like where do I start to focus on?
Wow, that's a really good question and hard to answer because I want to be like, okay, when we think about like the astrology calendar and like the year ahead, these are more collective experiences. So everybody's going to experience Saturn entering Aries. Everybody's going to experience Neptune entering into Aries and Uranus entering into where it's going. But for specifically people, for like us specifically, it's really for me as an astrologer, I like to be like, what house is it landing into? And so the houses correspond with everything, and it's a little bit more in depth, but the houses are where we get to understand where in our life specifically is this going to be affecting me for the foreseeable future, if that makes sense. So like Saturn entering into Aries, for me, Saturn has been in my seventh house for the past 2.5, 3 years. This has been affecting my relationships. This has been really helping me kind of overturn and see where the true focus of how I can focus my connection to other people and how I can grow from other people and how other people can grow from me and stepping into that power. And now with Saturn entering into the eighth house, for me personally, I'm like, okay, like there's a lot of shedding that's going to be happening. There's going to be times where I need to like let go of power and I need to take power back. And so these are where the houses for me personally make a lot more sense to like kind of hyper focus on. And this is a little bit more of a reason why people get readings is because they don't understand how to read that. But once you get it, you start to kind of see the patterns and it makes a lot more sense. But other than that, like just really kind of paying attention to the elements and kind of being really breaking it down really simply and being like, all right, there's 4 elements. There's earth, air, water, and fire. 2026 is a really big year for fire and air elements. And Molly and I were talking about this a couple months ago. And this is a really, really big kind of focus on it. And it's to me, it can go beyond astrology. It goes into like herbalism. It goes into how we perceive just the elements with our felt senses, you know, and being like, does fire kind of ignite within me, like creativity, like starting to kind of create these keywords that bring us into connection with these elements within our bodies. So then instead of receiving from external sources, we can really start kind of nurturing and harvesting from our collective wisdom that's within our own bodies, you know, and that's a big part of what 2026 is really trying to inspire within us is that connection with ourselves and being like, oh no, I do know this thing and I don't need to like constantly anchor into all these other authority figures, things like that. We're separating from some things and coming into like a more honest space within ourselves and within the people in our lives. So
Yeah. I love that as like just focusing in on the elements is so powerful. And we have an element series. So anyone listening and you're like, I don't know, what does air and fire mean? You can scan back through. But I'm wondering if one thing that I really love about working with you, Chelsee, is like you speak about astrology in a way that doesn't feel like you're speaking French to me, where it's like I really feel grounded in the way that you describe, you know, all these different aspects that feel really complicated to me until they come through the filter that is Chelsee. Can you give us a quick and dirty rundown of each of the houses and what they correspond to?
oh man. Well, there's 12. So I don't know how to do it.
Just like a rapid fire. Like if you say something is in the first house, what does that mean?
Okay. So let's break it down into quadrants. So there's 12 houses, and the 12 houses each correspond with each of the signs. So first house is Aries, and then 12th house is Pisces. So if we just think about that, okay, it's Taurus, Gemini, you know, blah, 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 all around. And so that is kind of like the base of understanding the chart. And then so we're breaking up that 12 into 4 quadrants. And I don't have my proper notes in front of me, so I'm going to probably say something that it goes beyond what I usually say. But the first quadrant is about self. So when we have planets transiting the first quadrant of our charts, the first 3 signs or this first 3 houses, this is the quadrant where we're focusing on growing ourselves and we're not really looking at the world. We're looking at ourselves and our needs. What's going to bring us structure? What's going to bring us security? What's going to bring us voice? The second quadrant is more about, we're like, oh, wait, there's other people, there's reality. It's not just me. So that second quadrant is more about, okay, like, how do I start showing up? How do I give? How do I nurture others and myself at the same time? And then we can even go a little bit deeper and break up the 4 quadrants into 2, just halves. And so that bottom of the chart is more about self reflection, taking care of the basic physical needs. So the bottom of the chart, 1 through 6 of the houses, is all about finding a way to take care of our physical body needs, our earthly needs. And then we get to the third quadrant, which is where we start to kind of expand into, okay, how do I serve and how do I give? And how do I also like work with the power that I have, that I've realized that I have because you've done the work of the first and the second quadrant. And then that fourth quadrant is where we really start returning to others and we really start kind of serving. And it's not about us anymore. It's about the bigger picture. It's either about our work, it's either about our community or the future, where we're not going to be really here. And then we go to like the transcendental part of ourselves where we're like, really like, when I'm not here, what am I leaving behind? What is the legacy of what I'm doing? Or not even, there's no I in that part. But yeah, that's kind of like the base quick way for me.
Damn. See, this is why I love Chelsee, because now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, they all feed into each other. It's a cycle. And every cycle has an ending and a beginning, and it begins and it spirals. And I'm just like,
yeah.
And that's why the chart's in a circle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so below, like there's really big, like it's very alchemical in that way. And it's really cool.
I feel like every time you come on and we all talk, I like you're talking and I'm immediately thinking of like, oh, here's another episode that we should all do together. I'm like, we need to do like a video podcast where you look at our charts and explain how to look at your own chart through looking at ours. Cause I'm like, okay, so how does that, and what do I have in this house and what, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we need to do like a visual type thing.
Yeah. And cause it is more, it's easier for me to explain visually. Like when I don't think people can see me, but I'm like looking all around because like that's how my brain works. But it goes into like even like the shapes, like the aspects, like, we're gonna, oh my God, you guys, like this year we have this huge trine that's happening. And this whole year, 2026, nothing. I've been looking back in history for months now to try to find when all the outer planets have moved. And there's, I think maybe 9,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about it. Tell us about this trine.
Because you're perfectly segueing me. Thank you so much for this into our next question, which is like the most common question that we've gotten from everyone on Patreon, on Instagram, in our DMs. What are the major astrological highlights for 2026 that we should be aware of?
So honestly, there's so much, and I with my magical moment of this week or whatever, like it's being present. I'm like the farthest that I'm willing to take myself is to mid-year.
Okay.
Because on mid-year, it's like a whole new freaking chapter. Like January and February are huge. And I've been getting DMs from your guys' community as well. They're like, please tell me, I really need hope. Like we do. We really need hope, and we really need to not lose our humanity. And we really need to continue to be as open-hearted as possible towards the people who have earned our trust and our love. And so the beginning of the year, so January, I think 26th, is when Neptune transits into Aries. And so Neptune has been in Pisces for a while now. And so there's going to be this year is so wild because Pisces to Aries, just that feeling alone is so palatable. It's such a flavor profile change. It's from like blank to lemon zest. It's like the sun rises and you can't fathom that this is reality, of a feeling. So with Neptune entering into Aries, this is a huge moment of like, wow, the fog is parting finally. There's like this confusion, this delusion that's kind of been like circulating in our brains. This is about to like get the hell out of here. And then, especially once Saturn enters into Aries come February, that's a really big moment too, where there's going to be a really big shift in the way that we're understanding and working with our responsibilities. So Saturn is, lack of a better word, they're dry. They're not super fun. It's very professional. So Saturn is about responsibilities and how we work with leadership and how we are carrying out our responsibilities. And so once Saturn enters into Aries and Neptune is in Aries, the big moment where I feel like things are going to start kind of like clicking, though, is going to be February 20th, when Neptune and Saturn make a conjunction. So they conjoin, they come together at 0 degrees Aries. And so this is when our dreams are really ready to become structures and to become a part of our reality, like our tangible physical reality. This is where we really need to get focus on our accountability, where we can't be blaming other people or, you know, avoiding taking responsibility. Saturn really needs us to be like, no, shit, I did this. This is something that happened and I need to problem solve this. And so that accountability is really important because it's getting us out of the clouds. And if you're still kind of in the clouds come like March time, you can do some of the work still, but like really kind of being able to step out and to come into the new iteration of yourself. So there's going to be this shedding that happens within like ourselves and within the world. This is beyond a closed soup, like a closed loop. But we're really gaining a lot of more traction come summer. So Neptune and Saturn, they're outer planets. They move slow. So don't expect it to be like instantly like everything is on its way. You know, like don't have an expectation of like you're gonna do everything that you need to do. Like it takes time. And like Saturn is gonna be in Aries for 2.5 years. So just start really setting the stage for yourself and for future you. Like do it for future you. Like do the hard, uncomfortable things that you don't want to do. Like just do it. And with it going into Aries, there should be this renewal of like, you know what, I can do this. And it's not going to be as like hard. Like the overthinking won't be as overthinking anymore. So like January and February are about gaining momentum, creating traction. And so we have a lot of big inquiries that are going to be coming with that. So like asking yourself, like, where have you been too cynical or delusional? Like being really real, like with yourself. It's not fun to be like, oh my God, I've been so like in the clouds and like, what the heck have I been doing? Just let it go and just answer the question. Where in your life have you been cynical? You know, like, and like see it and start noticing it and start letting it go, you know, and like, where can you be more hopeful? Like really starting to feed that hope because that's so important. Like doing this work is going to allow your dream to become clear to you. And I feel like that's kind of what a lot of us are desiring. And then come April 25th, Uranus joins that triangle of revolution. And this is when we have these sparks of possibility for revolution to really start moving, especially spurred on through tech and worldly affairs. And I don't know if we can talk about it, but Trump's chart a little bit gets a little bit more active.
Please.
This is always a safe space for that.
Like, I don't want to give too much airtime for this human, but he's a human.
Snaps for that.
You know, like very much we're all humans and we're all going to die. And so I'm not calling anything. I'm just saying
the look on Molly's face. I've never seen her eyes get that big.
I don't want to say too much because I only give myself this much because that's other astrologers are doing that work. The
Sure.
only thing that I really can remember from like my picture of his chart is that Uranus is going to be crossing over his natal sun again.
Hmm.
What does that mean?
So Uranus is the planet of chaos, like unexpected everything. Like, and when it's on his midheaven too. So project I'm not going to project the high road of it because I think he's gotten a lot already on his midheaven. And when power is being abused, the planets put you down.
Mm.
Like the planets are like parents. Like that's why I'm like, just listen to your higher power, to the higher power. And I don't want to say parents because like that gets really misunderstood, and a lot of us still have a lot of trauma with parents. But like the planets put people in place, you know?
Hmm.
And it's not
Hmm.
like, and with having Uranus, the planet of chaos and extreme fast change in Gemini on his sun, it's giving like there's no hiding anymore from the chaos that's coming. Like
Hmm.
he's like out of calling home. Like he's out of all of his resources. People are falling off from him, and it's
Yeah.
apparent, which is good for us because get the hell out of here.
Yeah, finally.
So once we're like in June, things start really kind of amping up, especially within like all of us being like, whoa, we have these deep connected wounds that we're all feeling. And so come June 19th, we get a taste of what Chiron entering into Taurus is going to feel like. And this is only going to be for 3 months. So this is going to be the beginning of a chaotic summer again. Unfortunately, fortunately, we need to go through these life shaking moments to really show us what truly matters. It's kind of like when you shake a fruit tree and what's ripe falls and what's not ripe doesn't fall. We're still in that moment, but we're like in the action. So there's so much action happening this year, and a lot of our fears really should just kind of like dissipate when the sun rises, when Saturn enters into Aries.
I love that fruit tree analogy because even though
Yeah.
there's chaos, it's like you have the sweet, sweet fruit that falls with it too. So it's
Hmm.
like with the chaos, it's like, it's not just like, oh my God, shit just hit the fan and everything's bad. It's like the good also shakes free along with the fear shaking off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really love the validation that you're giving me about summer always being really difficult. I feel like I've talked about it on here at nauseum how I hate the summer. And I've always just like attributed it to the heat. And so it's nice to know there's like other factors that are, I'm getting hit at all angles, chaotic astrology, living in hell's armpit, like there's just a lot coming for me in the summertime. And it feels good to know that it's not just that I am like growing less and less able to deal with the sun.
Yeah. Well, with the fruit tree analogy, the shaking is strength building. That shaking is chaos, and
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
strength that builds resilience. It really builds an inner confidence where you're like, wait, I can be shaken, and I'm still here. I'm actually stronger now. Like it, and I think that that's important. And like also to tag on to like the summer chaos, like that's when revolutions start. That's when like the people that have the energy have the time off from school. Like that's when like there's space for anything to happen because we're all kind of like
Mm-hmm.
sick of it. And like I think even like historically, that's when a lot of the revolutions really like got their traction. We think about last year in 2025 with like all the No Kings protests and things like that. Like that's when things really started amping up. And that's when we also had that Mercury retrograde and we had some other stuff going on. And so with like this Chiron entering Taurus, Chiron is the wounded healer. So this is our childhood wounds. And so it's been in the same sign. So it's been in Aries for or since 2018. So these wounds that we've been feeling and like kind of stuck in and like really hyper focused on, because Aries does not really look around. It just kind of feels what it wants to feel. And then it kind of just like moves on to the next thing, and it's not very focused, which has a high and a low road to it. But that Taurus energy is going with Chiron, it's going to help us kind of start to prioritize things a little bit more. And so what I'm really excited about as an herbalist and as like an earth lover, and I think a lot of us are at this point because this is our planet, hello, like we live here, we eat the food here. This is about healing our relationship to Taurian things like money, self worth, the healing of the earth, our values to love and relationships and friendships, to pleasure and to farming, to food, and to protect the voices of the voiceless, like the voiceless people and beings, you know, like of the planet and the earth and the animals. Like this is where we can really start to kind of have a catalyst for deep healing that needs to happen on a collective level because we're like, wait, these things actually do matter to me, and I'm realizing this now, and I'm ready to actually take action on healing and nurturing versus like tomorrow's another day. Like we're kind of done with that at this point. And so that's only going to be happening for 3 months, Chiron in Taurus, which is going to be, I think, enough. And then next 2027, we'll be really ready. We'll have more of our, we'll have more systems and organization ready to kind of catapult us into, okay, what are we actually going to do? So it's going to just be a flavor of what's to come with the healing of the planet, which I'm very excited about. And then, oh my gosh, June 30th, this is when things start to really kind of like light up. So this could be like a lightning moment in time. So Jupiter enters Leo on June 30th. And this is when our creativity really starts to kind of amplify again, when we're prepping the stage also for the nodal axis to change. So where the eclipse points are going to be for the year. And so Leo is all about creativity and childlike sense of wonder and joy. And so if you've been feeling like not that at all, this is a really important transit for you to look forward to. Like it's important within astrology to look forward to things. A lot of people really are just like, oh my God, this is like so doomy and gloomy. And it's clickbait to like all relate to our suffering. Like that isn't a that's I get it. Like, but at the same point, we need to have things to look forward to. And this Jupiter entering into Leo, I think, is going to really bring us into a much more creative, joyful, forward motion, like looking forward to the future versus like, oh, I don't know what the future is going to look like, you know, and like really remembering that like the planets, we either work them or they work us. And so really kind of being able to have awareness of like, okay, like how can I help Jupiter when it enters into Leo? How can I bring more creativity into myself or into my life? How can I pick up, you know, with it coming into summer, you know, when it happens, how can I pick up a hobby? Even if I'm not going to do anything with it, like creating a hobby that really allows you to kind of like feel inspired and like have a sense of joy, you know, like maybe it's something that you always wanted to do when you were a kid. You just, as an adult, you kind of just let it go because it doesn't make sense and doesn't make you money or whatever. It's just like kind of being able to kind of set the tone, you know, and like working with Saturn, like once it enters into Aries, you know, in February, going back and being like, okay, well, what is it? How can I take action to create a foundation that's going to support future me? And really kind of being able to think about astrology and working with the planets in that expansive reality versus like, oh my God, these planets are like bombarding me and being completely terrified that Saturn's entering into your eighth house. Like it's that's scary to a lot of people
Yeah.
outside, you know, but in reality, it's like there's potential, there's creation. And when you're in good relationship with the planets, and that can literally just be like, all right, Jupiter, what do you want to do with me today? Like it can just like planets can be like buddies, you know?
Planets are buddies. Wait, I love that.
They are.
Just hanging out with my buddy Jupiter.
Jupiter's a good buddy to have.
Yeah, lucky buddy.
It's a hard one where you're like, oh, it's a tough friend. But every time they tell me some advice and I take it, it's good. It's really
We all need a friend like Jupiter.
yes.
That's one of my things that I really like about you. And I think we talked about this the first time you're on too. And I know a lot of our listeners that have had readings with you have echoed this to us, is that you really are good at focusing on like what's going right and what we can do about what's coming versus like, I feel like my awareness of astrology prior to meeting you is in that very clickbaity, like, oh my God, shit is happening. Oh my God, I missed it. I either missed something that was my one chance to manifest or whatever, or I'm about to get slapped in the face by the next planet. And it just constantly felt like I felt like astrology was this game of pinball, and it was just smacking me on different sides of like either it's good and I'm too late, or it's bad and I can't avoid it. And I feel like you're really good at like towing that middle where you're like, there's always a high road, there's always a low road, and like keeping you self as the center of like what's keeping you walking that line. And so I just wanted to like anchor that for you and for our listeners too. And I think that like one of the things, you know, we always talk about like with the chart, it can be really complicated, so getting a reading, but Chelsee does have, I'm going to throw this plug in here for you because you haven't mentioned it yet. And so I'm going to mention it for you. But Chelsee has an astrology calendar that you download and it syncs with your Google Calendar. I bought one for my entire team, and that is our Bible. Like if you've ever gotten my Sunday emails that have like the astrology of the week and whatever, like we follow that like a Bible. Like we plan our Reiki training launches around it. We plan content around it. Like I plan my own practice around it. Like that. It's Chelsea's word above God. Like literally, like if you look at our SOPs in our business, it's like Molly gets information from Chelsee, and that is like step one of everything. But it truly is like such a good calendar. So if you're like dipping your toe into astrology and wanting to like, you know, live more in that high road of the transits that are happening, it's really good at like succinctly explaining what's happening and like some prompts for inquiry and like advice and things like that. It's just, again, like it doesn't feel like you're speaking French to me, and I never feel like scared of what's to come. I'm always like, oh, what's coming up? I'm so excited. What's like Chelsee in my pocket?
Yeah.
So just wanted to anchor that in as well as an option.
Yeah. And I think what I love about it too is the fact that it integrates with Google Calendar does make it very like choose your own adventure, where I think sometimes when there's like a huge document in front of me that has this list of things, I can immediately feel overwhelmed and go, okay, never mind. I don't want to know that bad. Where I can kind of pick and choose. And if there is a week where I'm like, I can't think about the stars right now, I just don't have to click on those events. Whereas if there are things that I really want to plan around in like periods of time that are really important to me, I can focus really heavily on those in these little bite-sized chunks of these like Google Calendar events. I do just fucking love that thing.
It's so good. It's so good. If anyone doesn't have it, you can use Demystify Magic at checkout and you'll save, I think it's 10%, but it's good. Chelsee doesn't talk about it enough. So I will be screaming about it for the entire year because it's so fucking good. Like it's literally my Bible. I have it. It's the brightest color on my Google Calendar.
I think this year it's actually your hair color.
Mine, it's like bright purple.
Yeah, mine is too.
Pink on mine. So I'll take it. But if you want to color it after me, like that's fine too.
And bonus points when I screenshot my calendar to say, sorry, I'm really busy this week. There are extra events in there.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
A multi-use tool, some might say.
Well,
yeah.
That's how I created it. Like how Madison was talking about it, like some weeks and some days you just don't want to know. Like you need a break. Like even me as an astrologer, like I actually created it because I needed to take breaks from astrology. But when I came back, I was just like really I felt disorganized. It was like, what happened? What did I miss? Like that FOMO kicked in and that like chaos came in because like especially as someone that gives readings, I was like, shit, I'm like really behind on this. And like I create systems now where I can tap in and tap out even more safely. But it's really nice because I do really try to focus on giving people prompts so they can make it about themselves and their chart and even help them relate to like their clients or their friends or their family, you know? So it kind of creates more of a compassionate understanding of the world that's going on around us. You know, like there's hard aspects and there's lighter aspects, you know, and some of the harder ones, we don't want to read them for ourselves, but we're like, all right, well, I'm going to go into work today and I need to just know that Mercury's in retrograde and that people are not going to really want to like talk about as many things as I want to, or, you know, there's going to be a square that's happening. And so there's like these relationship issues that can start kind of happening, you know, or like later on in the year when we have Venus going retrograde, that's a whole other thing. And so the calendar is here to help you prepare for future you. And so you're not kind of slipping into those same neural pathways of like, oh my God, I hate this. I hate retrogrades. Like actually retrogrades are like the time where we can rest, where we can just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like reflect and not respond to the things that are kind of going on around us, and it can be a moment of rest. And that's not always easy
Yeah.
to take.
I find it always helps too. Like I have a friend that is he's in his Saturn return right now. And so he's like going through it and he's like, I don't understand why the last 2 weeks have been really hard. And I'm like, well, let me pull out my calendar. Has it been since the full moon? And then I'll like read him your little prompts and he's like, oh my God, how did you know? And it just makes me feel like a genius.
Yeah, like it's literally for everybody. Like I made it for practitioners. I made it for just people wanting to learn astrology. It's literally for all people. And my mom,
It's great.
so it's really cool.
It's great. We love it. I will never shut up about it. We do have a question from the community. So the last couple of years have been tender, have been overwhelming. There's a lot of burnout and a lot of repair that is needing to happen. Is there any transits coming up that really support slowing down and caring for ourselves outside of all of them?
Real quick, we've got a treat for you from a friend of the pod.
Life check, life check. Things moving fast, brain feeling a little squiggly, calendar low-key judging you. Yeah, same.
Whether it's travel, launches, big combos, or just trying to exist in late capitalism, sometimes it helps to know what kind of energetic weather you're actually working with.
That's where Conscious Seed comes in. Our favorite astro herbalist, Chelsee Joel, offers astrology readings and digital tools that help you plan with the planets, not fight them.
Her digital astrology calendar syncs with Google Calendar, which means fewer surprise plot twists and way more, oh, okay, that's why today feels like this. I'm a big fan.
And her readings, life-changing. We both check in with Chelsee quarterly because we like feeling resourced and supported.
If you've got big plans this season, or you're just trying to move through your life with a little more intention and a lot less chaos, this is astrology that feels grounding, not doomy.
And when you use the code DemystifyMagic, you get 10% off all of her astrology tools.
Chelsee helps you plan with the planets, not in spite of them.
Thanks to Conscious Seed for sponsoring this episode of Demystify Magic. We love you.
And we're back.
That's a hard one because especially once Neptune and Saturn go into Aries, we're at this point where things aren't going to slow down. And so we need to possibly create new boundaries that put rest into our lives. So that's where I was saying, like, the retrogrades are really like, take those chunks of time. And this year, actually, in the calendar, we added the shadow, like pre-shadow and post-shadow for retrogrades, because that's how retrogrades work.
Very excited about those because I feel like the shadow always hits me harder than the actual retrograde.
Same.
People, we feel things way before they happen and we're like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't understand why this is happening, but it's because it's really in depth. I won't go into it, but it's like, it's really important. So I'm really excited about having those being a part of the calendar this year. So really, like, if you have the calendar, use those shadow, the pre and the post shadow and the retrograde to give yourself space to rest. I would get your rest in sooner than later.
Good.
Like, really, like, this is the year of fire and air. Like, that is the opposite of rest. Like, rest to me is like when a planet is in a water sign or an earth sign, more so in the water sign, because that's where it comes a little bit easier to our bodies. We're like, all right, well, I don't have to create anything. It's not a physical thing. It's more of like a feeling thing. So that's like, for us, like, at least for me, like, it's harder for me to rest. Well, it's easier for me to rest when I can just worry about my emotions, where I'm like, all right, let's just actually take a nap, or let's just go take a walk. You don't need to do anything physical. But like retrogrades are really good moments for times of rest. Those are going to be happening multiple times throughout the year. So if you have a calendar or you just keep up to date with everything, just use those retrogrades as your time of rest and for doing some deep healing. And especially perhaps once Chiron does its 3-month period in Taurus, that could be a really beautiful moment to start initiating deeper practices, especially for the future version of you, to be able to like practice what rest means to you. Because don't we all need to redefine things? This is a big year of redefining what power means, what rest means, what saying yes means and saying no means, things like that. And so, like using this Chiron energy, especially once it enters into that the first degree of Taurus, like that's going to be a really beautiful moment for you to like prioritize rest. And hopefully for this person specifically with their question, like they have Taurus ruling like either a water or an earth house. And that'll
Yeah.
be a little bit easier for people with that. But if not, you'll survive too. We're all going to be just fine. We just
As you were talking, I was thinking about like rest and fire and air, because in my head I'm like, oh yeah, fire, like I'll go 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 go. I don't rest. But I was just thinking about like there are ways we can use the fire and air element for rest. Like I recently took time off in my business for the first time ever. Very proud of myself. I was clocked out for 10 whole days. Didn't touch anything. It just literally clocked out. And in that time I taught myself how to crochet. And I've been crocheting like a fucking fiend. Like I'm like, it's not like, oh, I bought one kit and I made a thing and that was fun. It's like I'm making a blanket. I just made like 12 hats. I've got like
Molly has texted me 3 separate times to ask me to measure the circumference of my head.
And so I'm like using that fire air element, but towards something that feels really restful, because even though I'm doing something active, I'm learning a new skill, I'm not stressed about it. Like there's no weight on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And like all of that energy that I normally put towards things that do stress me out are now, or things that have stakes, now that has more of an air water element to it, because this is using my fire energy. So like thinking about how can you rest in a way that moves in that kind of fast, rapid way, I think just can kind of open up more outlets for that, rather than feeling like, oh my God, I can't rest because it's a fire and air year. It's like, no, like let's use that for something else. Like maybe you take up running, or maybe you take up cooking, or maybe you I don't know, whatever it is, but like you can move fast with your rest.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could just be like with you, Molly, like being able to be like, you know what? This type of creative outlet is actually giving me this space to rest my mind. It's giving me this
Mm-hmm.
to like kind of tap out and be okay with tapping out. Like, cause I think all 3 of us have Virgo placements in pretty places in our,
We're both Virgo moons.
yeah, I'm a Virgo rising and it's hard. Like for me, I'm like, I can't rest. I can't rest until literally everything is done. And I'm like, but I'm a Leo. I need like rest as well. Like that's really important to me. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I read like a novel. I can't read a self-help book. I can't read a text that's teaching me anything. I need to read like
some Loch Ness monster smut, which is
to
what I'm reading.
I read cowboy stuff. That's like my
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
child. And like when I was a kid, I like before I knew what a job or a career was, I was like, I just want to be a cowboy. Like,
I love it.
I don't know. I didn't know what that was. That's hard work, but that makes sense for who I am. But
yeah. Something I really love too that you said that I think is a really important takeaway here is that just because the transits are moving in this direction of like fast paced and, the energy is maybe not conducive to the slowing down, that doesn't mean that we can't set our own boundaries. And that the lesson for somebody might be to kind of go against the flow of traffic here. Like it doesn't, just because the planets that are impacting us all on a collective are moving us towards one direction doesn't mean that we on an individual level can't say, oh, actually, that's not what is in alignment with what I need right now. The lesson for me here is to how to set boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, knowing your yeses and knowing your nos. That's what I've been talking to you guys and my clients all of last year about, like really knowing what your yeses are so you can say no with confidence and with clarity, and without that guilt that kind of like latches on, especially with talking about Chiron and talking about like this big evolutionary like jump that's happening this year. Like this is like we've been in the age of Aquarius. It's been kind of hitting since 2020. And so all of this chaos this chaos is not a bad thing. Chaos is necessary for extreme change to happen. And this is the year where we're really ready for that change to like root down and to spread. We're in that like mycelial age where we're like, no, everybody is interconnected and it's not just me, it's not just my family, it's not just my city, it's not just my state, it's not just the country, it's the world at this point. And so with entering into this like true age, we're really allowing ourselves to know ourselves. Well, we really should do that work of knowing that part of ourselves so we can move into the future into the way that like works for us on a sustainable level. And it's not like rest isn't selfish, like doing something because it feels good isn't selfish. Like that's what I think we're going to be learning a lot about is like how pleasure and not necessarily pain, but how these two relate to each other. Like I was listening to something and it reminded me of a saying that I used to say back when I was starting my business, when I was terrified of like failure and like all this stuff. And I'm like, my nervousness is just excitement
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
in my brain, in my body. And so because my neural pathway is used to being afraid of starting something or afraid of failure or afraid of saying the wrong thing or whatever, like how do I just reprogram that neural pathway to kind of help me continue to move forward and not hold myself back anymore? And I feel like that's where a lot of my clients and a lot of us are just, we're on that journey of like, you know what, even if I do fail, I'm still moving forward, and like taking responsibility, be like, well, I'm not going to do that again, or well, I'm not going to say that again. Like I learned my lesson because also we have the right people around us to kind of be like, hey, I think you meant to say this, or hey, I remember you said this. And like, how like you guys highlight quotes and stuff. Like I think that that's important to kind of like continue doing, especially as we enter into this like fire and air year.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's funny, like the kind of juxtaposition between these two questions as we just talked about this like feeling of tenderness and like, how can we support? But for those who might be really ready to lean into this energy of like the fire and the air and all those things, when is the best time to start something new?
So I think every day, every moment is a great moment.
Snaps for that. Snaps for that.
Yes.
If you're holding yourself back and your fears holding yourself back, like doing that like hard, scary work of being like, okay, like I'm afraid, but like, is there anything actually under the bed or is it just my imagination?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But like within the astrological year, February, things are really like, I know we're in 2026 within the Gregorian calendar, but within like the astrological one, the new year doesn't technically start until Aries season.
Oh, trust, we say that every year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, don't push it right now. Like if you can just do 20% better today. So by the time we're at that point of that like Pisces entering into Aries season, like at that point with spring, that's a great time to actually like take start to like have that initiation, like because it's gonna happen. Like I feel like that breakthrough moment is going to happen whether we want it or not. And so right now, really allowing yourself to like want it, to dream it, to prepare the table or prepare the like have a clean slate of everything where you're like from everything that doesn't serve you, we're like, this actually isn't what I need. I don't need to hold on to this anymore. But like truly come summertime is when it'll be actually felt like, and a lot of us are still, me included, we're very tangible. And so we want to like have that gratification of like, I don't have a good example right now. Like I'm thirsty, I'm gonna go get water and I'm gonna drink it. It's like we want that like satiation. We want that like physical, like I have this now. Don't expect that. Like that's not what it's gonna feel like. This is the year where we're like the momentum.
Planting seedlings.
Yeah, yeah. Well, last year was actually the seedling. Like now is like the seeds are in the ground and they've been there, and now we're like the water's trickling down into them, and the seeds are like, wait, I'm starting to wake up. I'm starting to like feel like something needs to change. Like there's a consciousness like awakening within everybody because you're starting to see these synchronicities within everything. Especially if you're like an intuitive, focused person and you look for these things and you ask for these things, these miracles in a way. So we're in that like seed cracking moment. And then we're like at that point where we're searching for the light. You know, we're still in the
Mm.
soil, but we're like, where's the light? Where do I need to go? And we're in this like building of belief and trust and faith. There's this whole like resurgence of like, what do I believe in and how do I continue on this path, even though I don't know what the outcome is going to be? Because it's not going to be the outcome that has come before us, you know, like it's not being an adult these days, it's not chronological like it was for our
Mm.
grandparents or even our parents, which is fortunate, unfortunate for some people, because we have these expectations, what it's supposed to look like. And then we have some people in the background be like, this is what you should do. And you're like, but that doesn't feel right, you know? So we're like on this, like, kind of like, we're leaving the dark night of the soul. We're in that last gasp of like, I can't breathe. I seriously can't breathe. But like, once we hit that, like, I want to say April point, like the end of April, once spring is like here, it'll be felt. We're like, oh, finally, I got to the light. I can breathe now. That's when it'll start to like kick in, but it'll really start up, honestly, like July 4th.
Wow.
I didn't want to get into too much, but like this July 4th is an igniting moment. Like that's where
Ooh.
I feel like there's a lot of potential predictions for because it's explosive. We have Mars joining Uranus in that triangle of revolution.
I love that it's the
Ooh.
triangle revolution. Did you name it that or is that its name?
I heard another astrologer call that, and like I don't know where it came from, and I didn't have enough time to like research it. But
So good.
yeah,
I
so
love
it,
it.
it's a it. We have multiple trines, and trines are really wonderful aspects. So if people look at their charts, it's these blue lines, and so a trine is when two planets are in the same element, and so this is why I'm calling it the fire and air year because we have these trines and these elements. And so on July 4th, we have that Mars joining Uranus. And then we have on July 7th through the 31st of July. So pretty much the whole month of July, Uranus is with Mars together, which is like Uranus is the planet of chaos and extreme change and unpredictability. And Mars is action, it's determination. It's the warrior. Like he is on the path and there's no stopping it. Like get out of the way. Like, and it's trine with Pluto in Aquarius, which is, I think, a really big moment where things could happen
Oh,
in world leaderships and things like that. So like this
could be fun.
it could be, you know, it ought to be, you know, we should definitely find celebration, even if it's
It
not.
better be.
But this triangle revolution is about rebirth of humanity with that air element. And so we have Pluto being in air, and then Saturn and Neptune being in fire. And then we have this Uranus and Gemini, which is another air. And it's like, it is pure like action focus. And note that these are collective planets, they're outer planets. So it might affect some of us, especially if you have things in Gemini or Aquarius or Aries, but don't be afraid. Like if you're taking care of yourself and you're a human and you're doing human things and you're making mistakes and you're trying again, you're going to just be fine. You're going to be great. You know, just like lean into the lessons is really important because I don't think non-humans lean into lessons. I think that they continue to avoid the lesson. So, yeah.
Yeah, tell that to my dogs. Chelsea, this was amazing. I know we only talked about the first half of the year, so listeners, if you want us to bring Chelsea back maybe midway through the year, let us know. We could do a part 2. But in the meantime, Chelsea, how can folks find you, find your calendar, find your readings, find more about you?
So Instagram is a great place to reach out and send me messages, also email. But in the Instagram, you can find all the links for the calendar, for readings, for my herbal products, because I do focus on the nervous system within like all of my work. But my website and Instagram is Conscious Seed. So yeah.
Awesome. We'll link it in the show notes.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This is always so much fun. And let us know if you guys would be interested in a chart breakdown with Chelsee too.
That could be fun.
We will throw ourselves on the sword, make our charts public information in the spirit of investigation and for the love of the science. But thank you so much. Did we do it?
Did we do it? I think we did it.
I think we did.
As always, Chelsee, we love you.
Love you. See you next week, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison. All our links from spells to ceremonies to ways to support us are waiting in the show notes.
We'd love to hear your magic moment of the week. Share it in a review, tag us on socials, or bring it to our Patreon clubhouse at demystifymagic.com.
And remember, you are the magic.
Okay, love you.
Bye.